If you're into incredible transformations, this is one you can't miss. This is the story of two brothers who took on a wrecked 2022 Mercedes G63 AMG and, over the course of a year, brought it back to its former glory. The project was a monumental undertaking, involving everything from replacing over 50% of the body panels to straightening the vehicle's twisted frame. They even had to call in renowned local auto body experts to help resurrect this G63, allowing it to finally return to the road 2 years after its crash and begin a new chapter. Like many of their projects, the brothers acquired this G63 from a salvage auction. The vehicle arrived looking like it had lost a major fight, with parts missing all over. Before even pulling it out of the transport trailer, one of the brothers tried to wake up the V8 beast in the engine bay. However, the shattered body couldn't handle the strain, immediately vomiting a cocktail of fluids onto the trailer floor. Realizing a test start was impossible, the family got to work unloading it. Given the G-Wagon's immense weight and missing front wheel, they had to use wheel dollies to maneuver it into an open spot in their workshop. Once it was settled, they could finally assess the damage. The first thing they noticed was a thick layer of yellow sand covering the vehicle, hinting at an off-road misadventure. The entire front passenger side suspension was simply gone, violently torn off in the accident. The driver's side was still intact but had suffered a massive impact that had snapped the thick steel bumper and severely deformed the front fender. When asked why they'd buy such a wreck, the brothers' reason was refreshingly honest. They just wanted to experience the G63's signature exhaust note and the bank vault clunk of its doors closing. As they dug deeper, the full extent of the damage became apparent. The side windows were shattered, and the iconic rear-mounted backpack spare tire carrier was badly bent, though the tailgate itself still opened and closed. The brothers' initial excitement began to fade as they found dents and depressions all over the body. A look underneath was the only good news so far. The main frame rails seemed to have escaped major damage. Inside, every single airbag had deployed. At this point, a wave of buyer's remorse washed over them. The cost of replacing parts on a luxury vehicle like this is astronomical, but there was no turning back now. One of the brothers climbed onto the roof to test its structural integrity, and to his relief, it held his weight, living up to its reputation as a tough-as-nails vehicle. But a closer look revealed that even the thick roof had been crushed and buckled in the crash, meaning it was beyond repair. With a basic understanding of the project ahead, they began the teardown. They sealed the shattered windshield with plastic wrap and gave the entire vehicle a thorough pressure wash. This not only made it easier to work on, but also helped uncover any hidden damage. As the grime washed away, they fell in love with the original light gray paint. They also discovered the G63 had less than 4,000 miles on the odometer. The V8 powerhouse was barely broken in. If they could pull this off, they'd have a pristine, like-new vehicle. Before starting the heavy work, the brothers drove to a local Mercedes-Benz dealership to price out from parts. The quotes were predictably outrageous. They decided to abandon that plan and instead make a trip to Atlanta, a hub for salvage and used parts, where they hoped to save thousands of dollars. Back in the shop, the whole family pitched in to muscle the G63 into the main workspace. Just as they got it situated, a massive shipment of parts arrived. A fan of their channel had sold them a haul of G63 components, fenders, doors, and more, all in the same light gray color. For about $8,000, it was a major score and a huge boost for the project. With new parts on hand, they dove into disassembly, starting with the shattered windshield.
Thanks to having the right tools, it came off without much of a fight. As they cleaned up the glass shards, they found another problem. The leather on the main dashboard panel was slashed. Lacking the skills for leather repair, they knew they'd have to strip it down and send it to a professional for reupholstering. As they removed the headliner and interior trim, they were impressed by the robust construction of the roof, which explained how it held up to being walked on. After a short break, they tackled the seats, which came out easily with the whole family helping. With the interior stripped, the damage was undeniable. The driver's side floor pan was completely buckled and would need to be replaced. Based on the damage patterns, they concluded the G63 must have rolled over several times. The brothers carefully removed the remaining dashboard, center console, and instrument cluster, as these valuable components would be reused. The floor was now covered in a sea of parts, a testament to the sheer scale of the project. The brothers marveled at how much technology and wiring was packed into the vehicle. They also noticed that the windshield A-pillar frame was bent, another issue to add to the growing list. Before shipping the main dashboard panel for repair, they meticulously removed the digital display, climate controls, and air vents to prevent damage during transit and reduce shipping weight. The teardown of the exterior continued. The shredded tire, damaged fender, and broken grille were all removed. As they test fit one of the new fenders, they were once again amazed at the G63's fortitude. Despite the massive external damage, the underlying unibody structure was remarkably intact. The next and most difficult phase was straightening the body. They spent the better part of a day trying to pull the buckled roofline straight, but made almost no progress. Stumped, they decided to take a break and head to Atlanta to pick up the rest of their parts. The family piled into their Ford F-450 for the road trip. Along the way, they passed countless trailers hauling auction cars, a clear sign of a healthy car culture. They even made a pit stop at a massive auto dealership, where they spontaneously bought a brand new, fully loaded Dodge Ram diesel pickup truck. After paying the $99,620 for the new truck, they drove it directly to the Mercedes dealership to pick up their G63 parts. The F-450 was now designated as the parts hauler, driven by their father, while the brothers headed home in their new Ram. They arrived back at the workshop at dusk, and after showing off the new truck's features, the family hustled to unload the parts. They now had a new windshield frame, A, B, and C pillars, and a complete new roof panel. Re-energized, they got back to work on the G63. However, trying to drill out the spot welds on the old roof proved to be an immense challenge due to the sheer number of them. Frustrated, they called in a friend for help, a familiar face from their past videos, and a local legend in the auto body world. He assessed the situation and, agreeing that drilling the welds was impractical, opted for the most direct method, cutting. He skillfully sliced off the entire damaged roof, making access for the next steps much easier. While he worked, the brothers removed the doors and continued to prep the body. The frame machine was put back to work, but even with their expert friend, straightening the twisted unibody was a slow, grueling process. At one point, they even broke one of the hydraulic rams on their frame-pulling equipment. After much deliberation, they decided to make more strategic cuts to the body, which finally started yielding results. Just when they thought they were making progress, they discovered the main lower frame had also been slightly bent in the crash. They took a break from the body and, using their equipment, managed to straighten the lower frame with relative ease.
More packages arrived, containing a complete new G63 cooling system, suspension, and brake components, setting them back another $5,000. Another critical delivery was a front-end body cut from another G63, which included the firewall and A-pillar structure they needed. With all the replacement parts now on hand, they spent several days cutting off the remaining damaged sections of the G63's body and test-fitting the new doors, roof, and front structure. Everything lined up perfectly. It was a massive breakthrough. It also goes to show that the obsession with all original, no-weld cars is often just a sales tactic. In the right hands, a sectioned vehicle can be restored to perfect structural integrity. With the major body panels welded in place, the G63 was starting to look like a car again. They moved on to the new suspension, installing it and putting the wheels back on. For the first time in months, the G63 stood on its own four wheels. The next phase was bodywork. They ground down all the welds and applied filler to smooth out the seams in preparation for paint. During a full test fit of all the exterior panels, they identified any remaining gaps and made final adjustments. After 2 more days of meticulous prep, the G63 was ready for primer. The fresh coat of primer gave the patched-up body a uniform, solid appearance, marking a huge visual step forward. Just then, the refurbished dashboard returned, costing $1,900, a significant savings compared to buying a new one. The brothers carefully reassembled the entire dash with its electronics and reinstalled it in the car, along with the seats and center console. They also installed the new radiator, changed the oil and fluids, and prepared for the moment of truth. With the push of a button, the V8 beast instantly roared back to life. The thunderous exhaust note echoed through the shop, bringing huge smiles to the brothers' faces.
A few revs sent an earth-shaking roar like an angry dragon out of the side exit pipes. The next big step was paint. They painstakingly sanded every panel and masked off the entire car. They decided to stick with the original light gray, spraying the roof first as a color matching test. Meanwhile, another box arrived, a brand new performance exhaust system. Watching them remove the old system revealed the two massive turbochargers tucked away in the engine bay. Installing the gleaming new exhaust was a huge visual and auditory upgrade. The sound was now even more aggressive, like a rowdy hooligan ready for a fight. The family worked day and night, sanding, applying seam sealer, and prepping the car for its final paint job. Once the sealer cured, they rolled it into the booth one last time. After the final color and clear coats, the bodywork was officially complete. The final assembly began. They reinstalled the interior components, including the headliner and seatbelts, followed by the exterior trim, running boards, and doors. The last major upgrade was a set of brand new wheels and tires, which elevated the G63's curb appeal through the roof. With the installation of the front windshield, the epic year-long G63 project finally came to a close. The brothers, bursting with anticipation, were ready to hit the road and enjoy the fruits of their labor. So, for the grand finale, turn up your speakers and enjoy the glorious roar of that resurrected V8.